Hey, it's Cobra here at MaddenGuides.com, and for this Madden 22 offensive tips video breakdown, I want to show create bunch formation with motion. And this one's kind of cool because there are a lot of formations in the game that you can come out in and actually create a bunch formation with the use of motion. This is just one example that I'm going to show you. And I actually got the idea of this. I was watching the Rams play, and one of the announcers mentioned that the Rams like to get into a cluster or a bunch formation through the use of motion. And this particular play I'm about to show and formation was used by the Rams, pretty similar at least. And I want to go ahead and show that to you here. So this is what this video breakdown is about. It's kind of give you an idea of some ways to create a bunch formation without ever thinking about it, or at least when you look at it, you don't think about it being a bunch formation, but once you use motion, then you realize it is a bunch formation. So let's go ahead and get into the play and take a look at it. And the play that we're going to use here is you're going to find is the Z spot. It's out of the Singleback Wing. Of course, it's out of the Rams playbook. This one features one running back, two tight ends, and two receivers. And the personnel group is obviously 12. The play type is a pass. The concept is spot. And then the primary receiver is a flanker. And then the routes ran are 4. And then the pass blockers are 6. Now, I want to say this to you. We are not actually going to run the Z-spot concept here. Now, just keep in mind the Z-spot concept or spot concept is a really nice play to run, especially against zone coverage. So I'm not going to run it here because I'll probably do another breakdown, I'm sure, on the Z-spot. I'm sure a lot of you guys get out and about, you can probably figure out or watch other videos about the Z-spot, but we'll definitely talk about it in another video breakdown. However, what I do want to do is get on the field here and show you what I like about this particular play and what you can use to get to the bunch formation through the use of motion. And with one hot route adjustment makes it pretty effective against pretty much every single coverage in the game, right, if it's man or zone. So I want to go ahead and get into it and just show this to you guys. So it's kind of cool, and it's something that you guys can run. I'm not going to sell you you're going to pick up a lot of yardage. Hey, you're not going to get a touchdown out of this play, but what you will do is be able to move the ball, especially say it's 3rd and 4 and you need 5 yards. This is a play that you can pretty much guarantee you're going to get to you that 5 yards that you need, because you're going to have several different options you can throw to depending on what the coverage dictates. So let's go ahead and get into it. And the formation that we're going to go ahead and run as you look at it, it's going to be let's go ahead and zoom in just a little bit here and just take a look at it. It's going to be this play right here. It's going to be the Singleback Wing formation. Again, you'll find it out of the Rams playbook. And it's pretty nice as far as what I want to show as far as getting to the bunch formation. So let's get into that. And we'll go and take a look at the Z-spot play, which is going to be right here. This is the one that we're going to call as you're looking at your screen. So let's do that. And then on the offensive side of the ball, I'm going to start off with the cover 3 sky, but we'll be doing some audibles into some other defensive coverages so you guys can see how effective this play would be against multiple different type of coverages found in the game. All right, so you're going to look at it. I'm not going to break down all the routes here because for the most part, I don't want to do that, but what I do want to do is just point out a couple routes for you right off the bat that we're going to pay attention to when we run this play. So first off, let's go ahead and just look over here to the right. We're just going to look at these two particular routes right off the bat, and it's going to be this route right here that's going to be ran by this receiver, which is the tight end 1. He's going to run this corner route, and then the tight end 2, he's right here. He's going to run this route, which is a flat route. So those are the two main routes I want to show. And the other route that we're going to talk about, we're actually going to hot route. It's going to go ahead and be this guy right here as you're looking at your screen. It's going to be this receiver on the outside, which is the flanker. Now, I'm going to go ahead and run this play. As I mentioned earlier, I'm really not going to talk about the Z-spot too much. I just want to run this. But I do want you guys to see something when I snap the ball here. And there's the ball being snapped. I'm just going to go ahead and take the sack here. But what I want to show you is from a top-down view, you're going to see that we're in the bunch formation, essentially. Once we do the motion, or the auto motion in this case, you can look at it here, and what you get is you get 3 receivers that are now clustered in this area here. So you get 3 receivers. Now, granted, in a bunch formation, like if you were looking at a bunch formation, normally this receiver lined up more up on the line of scrimmage, but it's still, you get 3 guys all bunched up in this area here. So that's where you get the bunch formation through the use of motion. With this particular formation, by simply using that motion where you send the flanker in motion, that's how you get the bunch. So that's what I wanted to point out there with that. All right, let's get back on the field. And the route that I'm going to hot route, this receiver on the outside again, which is going to be the flanker, which he's out here. I'm going to go ahead and hot route him on a whip route. And I really like the whip route or the zig route. I call it whip, call it zig, whatever you want to call it. Now, once you do that, now he's not in auto motion. Now you got to send him in motion. So what I like to do with him on this particular play is I'll just go ahead and send him in motion. So I'm going to send him in motion into inside here. And once he gets about right in that area there, I snap it. And then what you'll see is he'll be close enough to the tight end too, where we got that bunch formation. So let's just go ahead and send him in motion here. And then we're going to snap it right in that area there. And you can just see right there that now we got the Z, now we got the bunch formation. And one thing about this particular route is you're going to find it's pretty effective pretty much against every single coverage in the game, especially this route combination that I'm showing here. So here we go. We're going to snap the ball, and there's your bunch. As you look at it, we've got a bunch formation. You've got your 3 receivers all lined up in a bunch formation right there. So that's really nice about that. Now, I've also talked about the triangle where a lot of teams will try to get a zone when they run against zone coverage. What they try to do is they try to get 3 receivers matched up in a zone or in an area in a triangle versus 2 defenders. So here we go. Here's our triangle right here. This is what I want to show right here. So you get those 3 guys right there in a triangle matched up against those 2 defenders, such as I'm showing on your screen here. And there's your 2 defenders right there. So we've got three receivers matched up against 2 defenders. That means we're going to find at least 1 receiver open because they can't cover all 3 of those. They can only cover 2. Now, as you look at it, we technically have 3 receivers open here, or excuse me, 2 receivers open, which is going to be the flanker and then the tight end that's running that flat route over to the right. But at any rate, you get the triangle concept right there, or at least get the triangle, when that gives you the 3 guys versus 2 defenders, and that's what we're trying to do there as far as with that. So that's nice. And as you look at it, it's going to run it again, same thing here. So we get the bunch, we get the triangle, and we get a nice concept that's pretty effective. Kind of snapped that just a little bit late, but he's still going to be open where you can pick up that yardage right there, 7 yards. So that's what you can do with this play versus this type of coverage against cover 3. A lot of times you're going to find at least 1 guy open, if not 2 guys open. If you were to watch, let's go and do the same thing again. Send him in motion, snap him in this area here. If you wait long enough, you might get the tight end open where you can throw the tight end in the flat and then get a block like that and we pick up extra yardage. So you got those 2 guys for sure that you can make that throw to against that coverage. All right, what I want to do now is I want to go into another defense. Let's go into this Tampa 2. And we're going to do the same idea here. Now, what's going to happen with this one, once I send him in motion, which he's going to go to the inside here again, we're going to snap that ball. This tight end is going to go out here into the flat. Now, that's going to draw the flat defender, in a lot of cases, over here away from the whip route that's being ran by the flanker. So as you can imagine, we're going to find him open. But we also have another option we can throw to as well against cover 2, and this is going to be the tight end. In some cases, he may be open where we can throw that corner route, and that's what I want to show you here. So there's going to be some guys open here. Let's go ahead and motion him to the inside here. Just snap it, and then you're just going to look and see what you get here. So there's your option right there. If it's cover 2, you can look to throw the tight end if you so choose, or let's go back in again. Let's do the audible back into Tampa 2 again. And do the same thing with him. We'll go ahead and put him in motion. Didn't do it right there. I didn't actually get the hot route. We'll just run the spot concept here. I'm just going to throw it to this guy, and it got sacked. But make sure, like right there, that Z spot, I can't talk right now, but Z spot's concept still would have been pretty effective. I just didn't realize as I was running. I didn't think that I thought I'd put him in motion. But anyway, let's go ahead and put him in motion. This is against cover 3 again, so let's go ahead and just run it. Got off a little late, but we still pick up some positive yardage right there again. So you can see that this is pretty effective against cover 3 for the most part. You're pretty much always going to have that guy open. All right, let's go back into cover 2. Same thing again. We're going to put him back in motion, snap it, and then this time we're going to look to throw to one of these guys, and then just again, I'm going to hit the tight end. Now, I could have hit, if you looked over earlier, let's go back in here with this one, I could have hit the tight end as well. It all depends on what that defender does. Watch how he sinks back. So you got the tight end open. You got a lot of guys open against this particular coverage here as you look at against this cover 2. And it's a lot of guys wide open here. The tight end is open. The whip route isn't really open until he gets right there, but you got the tight end the tight end running the corner route. You got the tight end running the flat route. And at this point, we also have the receiver that's running the whip route against cover 2. So we got 3 guys that are pretty much open at some point during this play against cover 2, as far as Tampa 2. All right, I'm going to go into another defense here. And I want to show this one to you guys as well. This is against a man defense, cover 2 man, pretty popular defense. Everybody runs it. So again, we're going to go ahead and go into the whip route, hot route, and motion to the inside. And then we're just going to look to break when he breaks to the outside. And we're going to pick up positive yardage again. So especially if you got an elite receiver, this particular play against man coverage is pretty much unstoppable unless they try to manually defend it. I mean, I'm sure there's some things they can do through hot routes and stuff like that, or some coaching adjustments that might take that away. But for the most part, this particular play is pretty effective against pretty much all the coverage. I'll run against one more coverage real quick, and I just want to show that to you. We'll just run against a cover 4. I don't think I've really talked about the cover 4 coverage, but you can imagine it's going to be open against cover 4 as well. So let's just go ahead and take a look at a cover 4 defense, if we can find one in here. And let's run this quarters one, and then we'll go back into that same play. So the idea of this basically was just to show you how to get into the bunch formation, run a play that's pretty effective as far as attacking zone coverage and man coverage without having to do a whole lot. Now, of course, I got sacked, but again, you can see that he was open. Let's go and do the same thing again, same hot route, motion in. I think that's pretty much the only thing that's going to stop this play from working is if you get sacked before you can make the throw. And then again, we picked up some positive yardage against that. So at any rate, for the most part, you should be able to get anywhere between 4 to 8 yards per clip with this particular play, pretty much against every single coverage in the game, in my opinion so far from what I've ran it, and it's been pretty effective. So it's kind of one of those, if you want to chew the clock a little bit and you want to take your time down the field and you want to look for a play that's going to pick you up some positive yardage pretty much every single time, this is a play that you can certainly do that with. So again, this play is going to be called the Singleback Wing Z spot. We're not really looking at the play itself. What we are trying to do is create a bunch formation with motion and then run a receiver in motion, such as the flanker, and hot route him on a whip route or a zigzag route, and use him to get open with the combination of a route combination of a corner, a flat, and the zigzag or the whip route. So all 3 of those routes all flooding over to the right. You should find somebody open to attack pretty much every single coverage in the game.